Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
I have so much gratitude for the information that I've read and seen from you in the past.
Well, thank you. We are also extremely grateful to be allowed the opportunity to interact with each and every one of you.
Good.
So that we can experience that many more facets of all that is. Thank you for being uniquely you.
Well, you're welcome. So I have 3 questions that I hope will be direct, and they're all geared towards things that I am having a hard time understanding.
Oh, all right.
So
Perhaps
you
it's
can
simply
clarify
one
it for me.
question in 3 different styles of clothing.
Maybe. The first question is, I have a hard time understanding the concept of choosing your own reality in the sense of,
Yes, we know that's a big one for most of
unfortunates,
you humans. Yes,
unfortunates and children,
Yes,
specifically
I
in foreign countries
I understand.
and really intense
All right.
situations.
Do you wish us to address that before we go on?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We recognize and acknowledge your compassion, and that's the issue at hand. Compassion. I want to illustrate an example for you, if I may. May I?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Can you imagine a being so compassionate, so unconditionally loving, that it will choose to live a life of suffering because it knows if it does so, it will trigger in you the same compassion to make sure it will never happen again? Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That's partly your answer.
Okay.
Because understand, of course, you have to look at it on a case-by-case basis, because there are as many reasons why people are experiencing those kinds of lives as there are people experiencing them. But do remember, all of you are an eternal spirit. You follow me?
Yeah.
You are an eternal, indestructible spirit. The physical experience, and I'm not justifying it, in that sense, is only a part of the total experience of the spirit. If the spirit knows that an act of unconditional love, in going into a life where it may experience a certain kind of suffering for a while, will actually open the eyes and awaken others to how they can go about changing their world to be something more positive. Many spirits will actually choose to do that out of love. You follow me? They may not remember that they did it when they are physical. It may make no sense to them when they are physical or to anyone else. But there is a reason. There is always a reason. Now, yes, sometimes, because of the nature, again, of the belief systems that exist on your planet, many people for thousands of years on your planet have not known that they can actually make a conscious choice to experience the kind of life that they prefer. When a being on your planet dies not knowing it can make a conscious choice, it will sometimes, especially in what you call the past, sometimes simply pick up right away in another life that in your terms will be reflective of unresolved issues from the past one. You follow me? I'm speaking linearly here for a moment.
Yeah.
So sometimes the experiences of people, even children obviously, having lives that you see in that manner as having described as suffering, may be the result of not knowing consciously that they could have chosen something else. When the word is used, choice, it doesn't always mean it's a conscious choice. You follow me?
Definitely.
All right.
I make unconscious choices all the time.
Yes, of course. The key, especially in the present life, is to learn to make these choices consciously, intentionally, and to know that you have the power, that you have the option. That's the key. Then you can transform all these things. But right now, Earth being what it is, the consequences and product of thousands of years of fear, There are still a lot of people on your planet that are caught up in fear. Still a lot of people that are perpetrating many negative things against other people. Spirits know that that's the territory they're entering. They understand it may be rough, but they also understand what the consequences may be of their willingness to go through that experience because of the number of people they may actually help by doing so. Do you follow this?
Yes.
It's not a justification for the negative act, but these things are all done in some way, shape, or form by agreement, by orchestration, even if it is an unintentional or unconscious one. There are still the consequences of energies. And even though you could say, well, I didn't intentionally make that choice, if you choose to perpetuate certain negative belief systems within yourself, and I'm not talking about you specifically, that will always have a particular consequence according to the third law. So even if a person doesn't necessarily in their mind want something bad to happen to them, but are always afraid it might, then they are choosing something bad to happen to them. That's the same thing. Being afraid that something might happen is the same thing as saying you are choosing it. Because what you're saying is that of all your belief systems, out of all of them, that's the one you believe might be most likely going to happen. That's the one you're giving the power to. Therefore, that's the consequences you get. And thus it can be said it was a choice. Even if you're not in touch with exactly how that might have occurred, mechanistically speaking. But the issue is to become more aware of how that happens so that you can choose with eyes open. So that generation after generation, things can get, as you say, more peaceful, more nurturing, more loving, more creative, more supportive. That's what this transformational age on your planet is all about. That's why you're also seeing an increase in all the negativity. Because you're getting everything up out of your system. All the things you've been holding on to for thousands of years, all the fears, all the negative acts, they're putting them all up out on the table. Saying, look, 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 look at what we have made our world to be. Look at what we have made ourselves to be. Is this what we want? Is this who we want to be? If the answer is no, then help. Do something that is a positive reflection. Be of assistance to those people. Relieve the suffering where you can. And let others know that those that perpetrate the suffering are themselves suffering. That's why they do it. Please remember, it takes a victim to make a victim. You understand? You must do things that break the chain of victimization, beginning with the perpetrator. Because the only reason they do what they do is because they've been taught to believe they are unworthy, they are disconnected, they are powerless. And in living in the terror of the experience of being disconnected from your power, believe me, they will still want to reach out to whoever they can, but being that they are perpetuating a negative spiral, they will simply reach out in a negative way because it's the only way they've been taught to express themselves. But when they are taught to believe that they are powerful, that they are an aspect of God, that they can live the life of joy that they prefer to live, there will be no need to force themselves on anyone else. There will be no need to control. There will be no need. You follow me?
Yeah.
Is all of this helping to address that issue?
Yes.